Hello everyone, today we're looking at Nightmare Kart. I really love this little gem of a game. It's honestly right now it's free on Steam, so I thought I might give it a whirl. And so yeah, I think there was definitely more than a few years ago, where IGN for their April Fool's joke said, the next upcoming title, the sequel to Bloodborne, is a kart racer game. It was just a silly little joke, but they had screenshots and concept art and all this other stupid stuff. But someone, since there is obviously a lack of good games or a lot of passion in general, essentially said, you know what, I'm going to make that. And so I believe this, again, it's like an indie developer, like one person, and I think they actually were pretty famous on YouTube for a while because they were making a bunch of Bloodborne demakes where they essentially made it look like it was made for the PS1. And what happened was they essentially so you know what, I'm going to make a kart racer game. And I'm so glad they did, because this game, honestly, despite everything, it's made very, very well. Honestly, it feels really good. The combat, the movement, the mechanics. What's really funny is that, it borrows a lot of mechanics from obviously normal kart racers. You press A to go, you can drift to build up a speed and stuff. When you go off ramps, you can press LB to do a little spin, and that'll give you a boost when you land. And of course, you also have pickups that allow you to use certain items and weapons. But what's also interesting is that, of course, they've brought in elements of Bloodborne itself. So this isn't just like an empty kart racer game that looks like a PS1 Bloodborne game. They actually brought in some new mechanics, and that's what's really impressive. And also because of that, again, this is an indie developer, so the game itself is like 3 hours long. Like, it's very, very, very short. There's no multiplayer. Actually, no, wait, there is local multiplayer, I think, if you hook up more than one controller somehow. But a PC kart racing game, not exactly the most multiplayer friendly platform to put it on. But yeah, this is the beginning of great things, honestly, and I'm just shocked they also released it for free, because again, yeah, it's not very long, but I feel it's worth at least a couple dollars or something. But in any case, so yeah, there's basically campaign and free race where you can select all these characters, including some of the enemy NPCs that you race against in the campaign, but the most of it is in the campaign, where essentially you play as the hunter, and it recaps the original story of Bloodborne at a very fast-paced, PS1 style. I love the sound effects of the game, though, by the way. Everything from the boost power to the sound that it makes when you save your game and navigate through the menu. Also, the music's really good, which I was really shocked by. It basically takes, the normal Bloodborne tracks of just chanting and whatever, and makes them really, really like upbeat and happy and fun, and Mario 64-esque. Also, I love when you cross the finish line. It's very much in the spirit of Mario Kart, where you have the exact same sound effect and the same kind of replay. The music design of this game is really, really solid. Honestly, this could become a proper real game if given enough attention and time. I guess what's also funny is that this game was being developed as Bloodborne Kart, but up until the moment it released, I guess they had to rebrand everything to avoid copyright, so instead it's called Nightmare Kart. You still are called the Hunter, but then certain characters like Gehrman is now Herman, Father Gascoigne is Gregory, and some of them have been given also alternative looks and styles, so instead of a lot of them have just become blonde now to just, deal with that, again, copyright issue. Oh, and Mikolash has become Nicholas, and Lady Maria has become Lady Marie. And also, what's also interesting is certain writers I didn't expect to see is they had the three hooded guys from the forest. I forget their names were actually, like the three unknown ones, and they call them the three like snake sisters instead. And Yarnum has become Miralydia or something. I have no idea where they came up with that term. Maybe something about racing, who knows. What's also fascinating and fun about the campaign is that everything is not just a racer. There are different kinds of like battle modes. There's even a boss fight mode for Nicholas or Mikolash or whatever that completely recreates that exact same boss fight, where essentially you have to chase him in the right direction through, the the tower, and you have to defeat him at certain intervals. And then he has this really cool part that I really like what they did at the end, because they did a combination of that fight and their own thing, where you're kind of racing along these gigantic, how would I say, these giant platforms being suspended mid-air, and he's jumping through the air, and you basically have this special pistol where you just have to shoot him. Yeah, it's really, really cool. And then the final kind of part of the game is just a gigantic battle royale, essentially, where you have to stay alive and take out the other kart racers. And it was really, really cool. Other modes include, of course, battling, in an open field, defeating other hunter racers, gathering insight as a CTF thing and bringing it back to your home base, and also destroying a bunch of mobs in the city. So again, yeah, this game, even though it's very short, I think it has so much potential. Something else that's really cool are the items in the game. So of course you have the hunter pistol, which works like, almost like a red shell. Instead of a blue shell, they have Galaxy's End, which actually, targets the first racer and just defeats them with a bunch of different things. Some rare ones are things like the Gatling gun, which is really, really cool because you have like a lot of ammo for it. And so that's obviously something you get if you're near the end of the pack. And you have the equivalent of the whirligig saw, and that's really cool because it'll basically run for 10 seconds, and anything or anyone you come in contact with, it'll totally shred them, and also make you go forward. And it is this cool little cinematic thing if you hit someone with it. So of course, there's also the lever action shotgun as the hunter's blunderbuss, and of course the melee weapon. And so what's really interesting is that the melee weapon will actually change depending on what you select before the race. And what's also very cool in free play, if you choose one of the NPC racers, you'll get a special, melee weapon you can't get in campaign. Like, for example, the Winter Lantern or the Winter Helmet or whatever it's called in the free play version. It essentially uses, its melee weapon becomes tentacles, which I thought, oh, that's really cool. I also really love how the melee weapons work in this game because a melee weapon in a super fast kart racer, like I'd imagine like I'd miss all the time. But the way it works is it actually gives you a little boost and has a huge area of effect, which makes it actually a lot of fun to use. Of which you can get, I think, the Hunter's Saw or whatever, Spark Cage, Crescent Hunter's Axe, and a Threaded Sword, and also and a Rusty Razor. And so there's 5 decent ones. And what's also very interesting is that they give you a good selection. They give you a good selection of different carts to actually use. So almost all the carts that the enemies have in the game you can use. So of course you have the hunter cart, the hunter bike, Lady Marie's cycle copter thing. That's really nifty. You can also ride a boar. Probably the one that amazed me the most and kind of shocked me the most, that was very entertaining, was the bird cage that Mikolash uses. If you equip that one, you just literally run through the stage, which I thought was so funny. And so even when you go off the jumps, you do a little spin and you kind of land and get a little boost on your little feet, which I thought was so cool. Right, and so some of the mechanics that they borrowed from Bloodborne. So obviously, yeah, you have a health meter, and so if you do run out of health, you take too much damage, you actually do end up dying, and in which case, you basically respawn, but you also lose your blood echoes. And so yeah, there is a blood echo component in this game. You basically leave a little mark behind, so if you drive over it, you actually do recover those blood echoes, which I just think was just crazy, honestly. That it works exactly like Bloodborne, and blood echoes are essentially a currency in this game, along with insight, and insight is kind of like the meta kind of currency that you get after every race, depending on how well you performed. And I guess what's interesting to me is that even though you get this currency and it seems useful, you can't actually use it for anything, at least not in this version of the game. But yeah. Another cool thing is that when you do drifts, you can press, LB to drift, as well as B, which will give you a sharper 90-degree turn drift. I don't know on how many kart racers that's been done. I mean, I haven't played Mario Kart in quite a while, but I think it's interesting that they give you 2 kinds of different drift mechanics, which I think is really, really cool. And the way it works is that, yes, you get a little boost out of it if you go long enough, but if you just do it for a few seconds or whatever, you actually get these things called Aether Vials. And so instead of the Vitality thing being your mana in this game, it essentially works as a form of, how should I say? It works in the form of a boost. And I think that's actually really, really cool. And also do damage to other players as well, which is kind of fun. Of course, different carts have different weights and stats and things like that. The boar, probably the most. The hunter's carriage is also, a huge one. Another cool mechanic, again, that I just always thought, oh, this is actually so cool, is, if you're, spun out by, someone hit you, you can actually boost out of it if you have enough boost power, or if you have a boost available. Also, if you fire your weapon while you run over an item, pickup, it'll actually reload your gun, and you'll actually hold on to the same weapon, which I thought was, that's a really cool mechanic. Yeah, there's not much else to say about this game, except you should definitely just go out and play it, because it only lasts like a few hours, and it's free, and I just love the style and aesthetic of this game. I thought that I wouldn't be into like demakes and like whatever, but yeah, no, they actually have a lot of soul, essentially. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. I'll see you later. Bye.